Welcome to Front Office Pros. I'm Steve, and this is Joe. And today we're going to be bringing you a new segment. It's going to be 3 players that you should sell now. But in essence, we're talking about these players are on the block. They're on your trade block. You have these players, and you've received these offers. So Joe and I are going to talk about them. So let's talk about the first player, Joe. We've got quarterback Kyler Murray. He's on the block. Would you trade him away for Justin Fields in a second?
I think I would take Justin Fields in the second for Kyler Murray. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I think, I was going to say, I think I would too, but then I had to think about it for a second. Obviously, it's from a dynasty context because you're getting the second round pick. I'm going to say no on that one. I don't think I would. I disagree there. I know you're down on Murray, but I think you're riding too high on the Fields hype. I think I'd stick with Murray. But we'll go to the next offer. You got another offer that you received. Okay. Would you trade him away for Kenny Pickett and a first?
I think I do that as well, Steve. Not so much for the Kenny Pickett side. I mean, he could be intriguing. We'll see how he ends up developing here, but really for that first, and then I can kind of possibly get my pick of a quarterback with one of these guys coming out. Maybe a Bryce Young or somebody like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you. I mean, Pickett, I think, will be more of a backup kind of guy that you'd like, be able to kind of sprinkle into your lineups. But the idea of Bryce Young really intrigues me. I don't know about CJ Stroud. They have that history of the Ohio State quarterbacks that concerns me. I think I would, if I knew I was going to get an early first. That's the thing, though. Bryce Young could get picked really early. Would I get him? I think I'd be more inclined to take this deal than the last deal.
Because of the first?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. And now here's your third offer you received. Would you trade Kyler Murray straight up for Trevor Lawrence?
That's an interesting one, Steve. Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. I don't think I'd do that.
Interesting. Why is that?
I know I'm down on Kyler Murray, and that's just because the Cardinals offense just they lack an identity. They're not really sure what they're doing. Kyler only really looks good when Hopkins is on the field, and he's only getting older. But Lawrence has been pretty inconsistent as well, and I think I'll give the edge with Murray's running ability there, and I'd hang on to him. I wouldn't do that one for Lawrence straight up.
See, I'm kind of a believer in Lawrence. I think we've seen some of the flash games, but then he all of a sudden doesn't do well. He is younger. In our league, you'd have to pay for Murray. I think I would do the Lawrence one. I would be tempted to do that. I can understand why you wouldn't, but I think it's not a horrible offer. So let's go to our next player. Running back, Jonathan Taylor. He's on the block. He's had a disappointing year this year. Certainly isn't going to repeat what he did last year. Your first offer you received, Joe, would you trade him straight up for Travis Etienne?
Steve, I think I would. As crazy as that might sound, I'm concerned about Jonathan Taylor, not only for the rest of this year, but for the future. Once again, it looks like the Colts are back to the quarterback carousel, and I just don't know what to expect from that offense. Their offensive line was once a strength. It's not looking as good anymore. And, Etienne, he's the younger player at this point. This is essentially his first year since he missed his true rookie year to injury, and he looks impressive. So, I think I might take that deal.
I'm with you. I actually would take that as well. Again, crazy to believe he was probably the number 1 dynasty running back coming into this season. After the Robinson trade, that was like, okay, the green light's here. And Etienne has really maximized his opportunity. I think he is a top 5 dynasty running back moving forward. I'm concerned about Jonathan Taylor. So all the craziness happening in Indianapolis right now, I would take that offer. Okay, offer number 2. Would you trade Jonathan Taylor for Najee Harris and a second round pick.
Yeah, I would do that as well. I know Najee has had a down year this year, and I've overall been pretty down on him for this season. But a lot of that has to do with that Frank foot injury that he's been dealing with. I think as long as he doesn't re-injure that in like the offseason heading into next year, I think he's going to be a lot better next year. And he's still the volume guy there in Pittsburgh. So I think I'd go ahead and do that.
I would also do that deal. I think Najee will have a bounce back next year. I agree he's dealing with that injury. He's younger. And I like to think that the Steelers are going to address that offensive line in the offseason. So I agree with you. I think I like that Najee. I like that side of the deal. All right.
Yeah.
So the last offer you have received for Jonathan Taylor, we're going to go with another rookie, Dameon Pierce, and a first for Jonathan Taylor. We'll say it's a late first.
Yeah, I think I would still pull the trigger on that. I don't know. It's tough to know what Pierce's value will be like for Dynasty the rest of for after this year. It's not like they invested the highest draft capital on Dameon Pierce, so it's not, the Texans do have an opportunity to move on from him if they wanted to. So that's a little scary, but I think getting that first round pick, even though it's late, still could grab somebody useful there. So that's why I think I might lean to still do the deal.
Yeah, see, I would not take that deal. I think for me, Dameon Pierce, his future is very questionable. I loved him for this year, targeted him in redraft. Lovie Smith basically just came out and said, like, we're going to give this guy the ball. Will Lovie be there even next year, 2 years from now? They didn't give up that much. I mean, the draft capital for him, those late round running backs, they could be doing well, but they can get supplanted very easily. So, whereas I think Taylor, he's, whoever the coach is going to be, that's going to be a selling point for that team. They're going to be a run first offense. I'd like to think that Taylor's going to get back on track. If it was an early first, I would say I'd take the deal, because if you told me I could have Bijan Robinson or Jonathan Taylor straight up, even not knowing where Bijan Robinson goes going, I would take Bijan Robinson. So that first, wherever that first is located, would really change things. All right, so our last player on the block, wide receiver, Deebo Samuel. Would you trade Deebo Samuel for Jahan Dotson and a second round pick?
I think I might pull the trigger on that, Steve.
Wow.
Jahan Dotson, when he's been healthy, has looked good. He's very involved in the offense. Seems like the Commanders really, really like him, and they give him the ball. It's just that he's, been battling injury. We don't know if that's injuries are going to nag him, for his career or not. But Depot's also a guy that's battled through his own injuries. He's been out the last few weeks already here. Future of the 49ers offense. I'm not the biggest Trey Lance guy. So I think I'd pull the trigger on that.
Interesting. I don't think I would. I like the idea of Dotson, but I think I could get more for Deebo, and I'm not in love with that offer. It's not a bad offer. I think it's a reasonable offer, but I wouldn't take the offer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it might not be the best, but I could see why. I could talk myself into doing that though.
Okay, here's an offer for you. Offer number 2: Brandon Ayuk and Trey McBride for Deebo.
I think I would do that as well. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the future of Deebo, I just don't know. Ayuk is the younger guy. He's shown that he was still. I think Lance would still potentially go to him, and they'll kind of do some tricky things with him. But then if McBride starts to play well in Arizona, he could be a difference maker for you at tight end, which is a very bleak group. So I think that makes it intriguing.
See, I would also not do that trade. Not a big Ayuk fan. I don't know what it is. I just never been a fan of his. Feel like he has good games, but he doesn't have the consistency. McBride's interesting. Ertz has done really well, and so you haven't seen a lot of McBride this year. Again, interesting offer. Don't think it's one of those offers that you scoff over, but I think overall decent offer. All right, and our third offer, would you trade away Deebo for George Pickens and Isaiah Spiller?
Yeah, I probably would. I think this could be the best offer
Okay.
that you've mentioned. I mean, I think the future of George Pickens with Pickens there, they definitely have rapport. He could be
Mhm.
very good. You know, only a rookie right now. We got youth on his side, and then you also get a chance to take a flyer on Isaiah Spiller, uh, who could be the starting running back with the Chargers next year. I mean, obviously, I don't expect Eckler to be back, and they drafted this guy for a reason. So, yeah, I would say that'd be my favorite offer to trade away Samuel.
Yeah, I would also accept that trade. As you know, I'm a big Pickens guy. Now that Chase Claypool is left, this might be the time to trade. If you could trade for him or have him be involved in a trade, I think he could start to his production could increase. Now, do you think this is a reasonable offer? Do you think the Pickens Spiller owner would be like, there's no way I would do that for Deebo, or you think that's a reasonable offer?
I think it's reasonable. I mean, I think it'd be a tough sell for the owner of Pickens and Isaiah Spiller, though, to go ahead and trade for a guy like Deebo Samuel, who, you know, was absolutely fantastic last year, but a guy that's had his injury history, he's back injured again this year. And then to give away two rookies, I think that'd be a tough sell for sure.
So ideally, you're saying that for Deebo, a good offer would probably be a dart throw at a position. We mentioned a guy like Trey McBride or Isaiah Spiller, and then maybe a younger receiver who hasn't necessarily emerged. That's kind of what you'd be. That's a fair value that you'd be looking for Deebo.
Yeah, and then if unless you don't have that and you want to throw some picks in there for sure.
So those were three players that we would recommend that you sell now, and we gave you some values to consider as you're searching for trades. We are a new channel, and so we try to create several videos on a weekly basis. So we would encourage you to like this video, hit the subscribe button for this channel, and hit the notification bell. If you have any comments, send them our way. Anytime you have a question, feel free to put it in the comment section. We're happy to answer. And do you agree with us? Do you agree with our valuation for Deebo Samuel, Jonathan Taylor, and Kyler Murray? Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.